serving up a warm dish of the Triad's culinary fare, here's your weekly helping of food, news, and views. This is the man who ate the town.
Hey folks, and welcome to episode 105 of the Man Who Ate the Town podcast. This is for the week of March 25th through the 31st. We will finish the month out today. My name is Tim Beeman.
I'm Ray Morgan.
And we're opening the recipe box. We're recording this episode of the Man Who Ate the Town at the Lab at Industry Hill. It is a repurposed building on North Chestnut Street in the old warehouse district of downtown Winston-Salem. Industry Hill itself,
easy for you to say.
Yes, hosts a lot of cool things: restaurants, chocolatiers, breweries, entertainment complexes, a high-end stereo shop, a bouldering facility, and of course the Lab at Industry Hill. Find out more by visiting industryhill.com or their Instagram pages or Facebook page.
Or just come by.
Well, there have been a couple of confirmed closings this week. Let's start with Twin City Slice. Robert Moreau closed Twin City Slice at the end of business on March 16th. The reason that Michael Hastings of the Winston-Salem Journal gives in this article is Moreau said that he felt it was time for something different. He wants to focus his attention on Bibbs, which he co-owns with Mark Little and Ricky Seaman. There are rumors that the landlords chose not to renew the lease and want to turn the building into apartments, and here's a problem that I see with that. Twin City Slice is located at 214 West 4th Street. According to the Forsyth County Tax Office, current as of yesterday, the space is owned by James R. and Mercedes J. Bowling, whose mailing address is in Flowery Branch, Georgia. 216 West 4th Street, where Tropical Smoothie Cafe was, and the vacant lot that used to be 212 West 4th Street are both owned by 4th Street Investors, which is in reality certain principals from the architect firm Walter Robbs, Callahan and Pierce, who themselves own the Chatham building where Aperture and Washington Perk are.
Okay.
Unless a sale is happening in the near future, I don't see how they'd be putting apartments there. I know the old Realty building, that's where Tropical Smoothie Cafe was standing, used to be offices, and the outside is amazingly attractive. The building is in great shape. I have inquired about getting and fixing up a space in that building whenever I was still in the Chatham building in the basement, and was told that it would take too much to get it up to code. Now, if they're serious about fixing it up, it will be a major undertaking. Even if they are going to do that, they're not owned by the same people. So there will have to be an agreement or, as I said, a sale.
Right.
And are they really going to poach not one but two historically retail restaurant spaces for apartments? Pretty soon downtown's going to be just people living and nothing to do because everything's becoming apartments. Perhaps they want to combine the two spaces and make one large restaurant space.
That would be cool.
That would be okay too. I don't know.
Twin City Slice was, kind of shotgun style.
It was. I just know that a pizza place is gone, and while I have never eaten there, I had heard from folks that it was mediocre at best, and I'm okay with that. That's fine, but we need to put something in there that will work. That doesn't make up for the fact, though, that we lost a restaurant, and we need that back.
Well, you could almost say that the place next door was a restaurant as well. There's two right there.
Well, I liked Tropical Smoothie Cafe. I know it's a chain.
Yeah.
But it was easy to walk up to get a really good smoothie. It was ridiculously priced, but really good, and a decent sandwich.
Yeah. And they did a really nice job of renovating the one out on University.
Where they moved to.
Yeah. Took that old Taco Bell and really made it look nice.
Yeah. Well, another closing in the, I can't believe that one's gone file, said in a very sarcastic manner, is 5 Points Restaurant on Stratford Road at, oddly enough, 5 Points.
5 Points, yeah.
They had a piece of printer paper on the door that said, "We will be closing due to unforeseen circumstances. We would like to thank you for your support in the past." And Y-O-U. And I even put the sick in brackets there when I wrote this, so I would know that I wasn't the one making this mistake. For you sick, Thank you for your support in the past, and we are hoping to reopen soon. Ray, as you and I have talked about, with high prices and subpar food, why A, is this a surprise? B, did it not happen sooner?
Yeah.
I have to admit that I have never eaten there, and the last time I was even in that building was for a high school reunion function about 10 years ago when it was Big Shots Tavern. I remember that. I didn't care for that, and while fair or not, I just had no inclination to eat at 5 Points.
Well, yeah, if you had a real fondness for floral decor that reminded you of your grandmother's house, then it's beautiful.
Lucky 32's in that space before was
Lucky's.
Fantastic, and the
Lucky's
Buena
was
Vista
great.
Grill was there for about 3 weeks before they changed the name to 5 Points.
And I still don't understand why they closed Lucky's, because it seemed like it was doing well. But you're right, the restaurant was beautiful at that time, very modern feel. It was a great place to go hang out and just have a couple of drinks with folks, or if you wanted to get something to eat, the food was always amazing. Yeah, I miss Lucky's.
I do too. You know, somebody we know's dad was executive chef for Quaintance Weaver.
Who's that?
Flannery.
Really?
His dad used to his dad still might work for Quaintance Weaver, but
Cool.
But he I don't know if it was the Lucky's in Greensboro or the one in Winston, but he did have something to do with
Well,
that.
I've eaten at 3 of them. One, I guess, technically is in High Point over off 68.
Okay.
Then there's another one in Greensboro than the one we had
Yeah,
here.
the one in Greensboro, O. Henry Hotel, close to that. Green. Yeah. That's the original. And I believe they just wanted to focus on that one because they have the Proximity Hotel and the O. Henry Hotel. They own both of those. So
Yeah, and Proximity is super cool.
Oh yeah, I hear. I've not been there, but I've heard.
Yeah, it's cool. I've been there.
Whether it was fair or not, like I said, that may not be their fault that I had no desire to eat there. It was the case. I didn't have a desire to eat there. They closed at the end of business Tuesday. Some folks we know ate there that night, and they seemed something was going on.
Yeah.
Some people lamented on social media that they had events scheduled to be held there in April or May.
Yeah,
Some
had
said
bookings.
But then again, some people said they got warning that they were closing. So was that truly unforeseen circumstances?
Well, other people posted they thought it was a dry cleaners. Just like, oh, that's sad. If people don't recognize you for a restaurant, they think you're a dry cleaners.
Yeah, it
That's
just says,
sad.
and it just says 5 Points.
Well, think back, and this is going to hurt to think this deeply. When was the last time somebody mentioned that they went to 5 Points for dinner or lunch?
I don't remember any.
I don't remember it either.
Yeah.
Now, consequently, if I were to say, well, tell me the last time you heard of somebody that went to Yamas.
Just earlier today. And we'll get to that in another thing here in a minute.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a whole list of restaurants we could say, hey, do you ever hear any buzz about this place or that place? 5 Points was not one of them.
No. Incidentally, to the listeners, I hope you don't think we're kissing Yamas's ass here. We're not. It's just that damn good. we get nothing in return for the
we pay
praise.
for our food just like you do.
Yes, absolutely. We just
Joyfully,
love it. Yeah.
we pay for our food.
And again, outside of rumor, if they are hoping to open again, what will this new concept be? Or will it be the same concept? The rumors are that there will be yet another effing barbecue joint going in there.
That's what we need.
People, you are not going to do barbecue any different or better than anyone that's already got something going here. It's just not going to happen. You're late to the game if you think you are, and Jizo Pete, be more original.
Yeah.
We need no new barbecue joints in this town.
No, we really don't.
No new barbecue joints.
Now, I probably would have said that when Camel City moved into town too, but okay.
And I probably did. But,
All right, they proved us wrong.
Well, but the downtown, other than Bibbs, the downtown didn't have a barbecue place.
Right.
And Bibbs is a different kind of barbecue.
It is a very different barbecue.
So,
And they're both amazingly good.
yeah, so they have different niches.
Yes.
But they've got that covered.
yeah.
Hill's Barbecue, Mr. Barbecue, The Real Q, Little Richards and Clemens. We don't need any more.
We don't. We're covered. Come up with something Original.
I believe that the Red Crab Juicy Seafood opened this weekend off Haynes Mall Boulevard.
Oh, well.
In the old Hooter space. I've talked about how the name turns me off, but I do believe it has to do with their signature butter sauces. But still, don't call it juicy seafood. I think of, again, those fresh burst chewing gums that you just burst in your mouth.
I remember those, yeah.
It's a specific boiled seafood concept, as I've said. It's not the general full-service seafood restaurant. King's is a more fried seafood type thing. I haven't tried it, I haven't tried the red crab nor crazy crab yet. Although one of the counter servers from Mr. Barbecue, speaking of barbecue, keeps asking if I've been yet. So I have not. So if you have tried, listeners, either red crab, juicy seafood, or crazy crab, please.
Crazy Kevin Crab.
Yeah, Kevin Crab. It's our friend Kevin. Please let us know what you thought about it. We would love to hear from you. Dojo's.
Dojo?
A donut food truck based in Winston-Salem.
Oh.
I see it a lot in Ardmore. I believe they live there. Plans to open a brick and mortar donut and coffee shop in Renolda Village. Now, I'm okay with this since Krispy Kreme put their head up their ass and left town. I don't have to, and my wife doesn't work there anymore. I don't have to support them. I will for their original glaze, but we'll go other places for the specialty stuff.
Yeah.
When hubby and wife team Anna Margaret Roth and Eric Dish founded Dojo's food truck, they knew that they wanted a brick and mortar store. Well, cue Wake Forest University, who owns Renolda Village, the space under Silo Bistro and Bar, owned by our friends Will Kingery and Norb Cooper, was Gourmet Olive Branch was what it was called. That closed.
Okay.
It's right across the street from Mayway Dumplings.
I know where you're talking about. Yeah, it took me a second to place that on campus.
Yeah, it's not on campus. It's in Renolda Village.
Right, but I'm on the
grounds.
The grounds of Renolda Village.
They say construction began late January, early February, and they're going to produce their signature donuts plus other baked goodies.
Okay, so what are the signature donuts?
Well, they create their own style of donuts. I mean, it's just stuff with things on top of it.
Oh.
And they usually do this from a truck. But they are now going to have a brick and mortar, and they're going to be open from 7 a.m. till 10 p.m.
Oh.
So
all day long donut.
Yes. Once they get the restaurant opened, I'm pretty sure if they don't hire people, then I bet those hours are going to have to come back a bit, or if according to how much people go out there.
Yeah.
Renolda Village, I don't know, stays happening after about 8 or 9 o'clock at night. But
I was going to say, they don't do much 10 o'clock business.
But
I don't know, maybe
right there on Wake.
Yeah, so, maybe from campus. Yeah.
So let's hope. I'm hoping they do fantastic. But they say once the brick and mortar store opens, the truck will be relegated to special events only.
Right. Cool.
And that makes sense because
another local company living their dream. I love it.
Indeed. And I just love seeing them hit stuff like that.
And, that is the kind of place, Winston-Salem, that we need more donut shops.
Yes. Yes.
More chocolate, more donuts, more cake.
That are not chains.
Yeah, not a chain. It's something original.
Dunkin' and not crispy.
Right.
We need
something original.
Yeah.
That's why one of our favorite places and sponsor is the Humblebee Shop.
That's true.
Some place that creates something very different than what you'll find anywhere else.
Okay, so I have 2 emails to read, not write.
We get to open mail.
Mailbag.
Yay.
So, first, I told you last week that I talked to John Phillips.
Yeah.
And he confirmed that it was him. so I had the right John. And he sent me an email on Saturday that says, "Hi, Tim. I'm writing you today because I want to give a shout out to 2 authentic Chinese restaurants that I know of in town. You have spoken about both of them in the past. My wife was born and raised in China, so we really enjoy cooking Chinese food and eating out as well. Hometown Delicious in Greensboro, which I don't know that I've heard of. I might have talked about that in the past. is
don't know
our
of it.
favorite, and I want them to be around for a long time. They have a few Szechuan dishes, which are our favorite, but we also enjoy many of the dishes, including the ones from their hometown in the Henan province, not to be confused with Hunan.
Right.
We also enjoy having Pangu so close to us since we live in Clemens, but we haven't tried it yet, enough yet to give it a thorough review. We hope to try them more in the coming weeks. And he asked if we could please give them a quick shout out because we love having them around and hope they stay around for a long time, which, we have promoted. Pangu, we want people to try that. I'm trying to get a time where Stephanie and I can go out there. The last few times that John had been there, they haven't been the busiest, but might have just been the time of day or the day, Saturday lunch. I want to attract new customers who can try them and enjoy them as much as we do. Thank you. P.S. If there's another good place you are aware of in the Triad that I might have missed, please let him know. P.S. I enjoy listening to you, Ray, every week. We thank you. P.P.P.S. I also enjoy listening to you, Bethany, and Danielle on the Less Desirables every
Cool.
week. So
You'll have to repeat that on
I
Wednesday.
will. I want to thank John for the email, and I'm glad that Pangu's getting some love,
Yeah, love that.
but he's not the only one. Today,
There's more.
I got the roving report from our friend Steven.
Okay.
He says he did get a group of 6 people, and they headed to the wilds of Advance to hit up Pangu, and they were all glad that they did. His short analysis, he has an actual rundown of everything they had. This looks like one of my blog posts after I've gone someplace. But I'm going to read the synopsis mainly. So
First we ate the noodles,
Yeah.
then we ate.
First, he says, go!
All right.
Exclamation point. This is awesome food run by some very nice people. Food unlike you can find that he can tell anywhere else in the area. It's only 20 minutes from downtown and easy to get to. Don't even look at the menu, just tell them what you should try. That's what they did and loved every dish. Also, there is nothing quote unquote scary in the whole menu that I could see. No offal or organ meats, tongue, etc., which I'm okay with. I'm not opposed to eating those things. I actually hunt down offal dinners. Not awful, awful. O-F-F-A-L. Some people say offal. I say awful. So no reason to worry about eating weird food. It's all quality ingredients just done with different spices and techniques. Was it perfect? Nope. There was a little issue with the service until the owner Lee took over the table, and then it was perfect. So, yeah. So he liked it, and he did give a rundown of all the 8 dishes that they had.
Wow. But 6 people, and they all had a good time, and the food was excellent.
Absolutely. The nice thing is at the end they were full, but didn't feel heavy.
That's good.
It was a healthy, delicious meal, very reasonably priced. They
That's
ate
really
as much
good.
food as they could ever want, and the total was for 6 people was around $95 plus tip.
It's not bad.
Nope. There are many more dishes on the menu that they didn't get to try the first go around. They're going to make a time to go back in a few weeks for round 2. And yeah, so he even mentioned, because we had a little conversation off of the email, that he really thinks that we should have Yoni, who is their front end and back end manager type person that they figured that they had to hire when the newspaper article come out and they got slammed, and hopefully us talking about it too. Either having Yoni and or Lee, the owner, come on.
Oh, that'd
and
be
talk about
great.
it. And
Would love to have 'em on.
we're in our thing now with the getting in your business. So,
Yeah.
So I think we could really work on that.
That'd be great. I mean, then you look, I do the math on this. Had to double check it's about $16 a person is what they ended up coming out for.
Yeah.
So not bad for a good meal.
No, especially with as much as he talked about.
I mean, I'm assuming that's also and then including their drinks. So that's good.
Yeah. So John Phillips also sent me another email earlier today.
Okay.
He says, "Hey Tim, I was driving down Haynes Mall Boulevard and noticed that there is a new poke restaurant coming to the old Witch location.
Oh, I didn't realize which
Yeah, the new place is called Poke Star.
What is poke?
Poke it's a Hawaiian dish, and it's named poke after the slice. It's like the way the things are sliced. It's generally with, let me look this up again.
Is that Poke?
Yeah, it's spelled like poke.
Or like Pokemon?
Well, kind of.
I'm sorry, you said poke, and I kept waiting for you to say man.
Yeah. So this is the Wikipedia version, so I don't know how accurate all this is. But poke is a diced raw fish served either as an appetizer or as a main course, and is one of the main dishes of native Hawaiian cuisine. Traditional forms are aku and hi'i. Aku.
You smile when you say that at me.
Aku is an oily tuna, and hi'i is octopus.
Oh, okay.
Hi'i octopus poke is usually called by its Japanese name taco poke, T-A-K-O, not taco, taco, I guess. Except in places like the island of Ni'ahu, Ni'ahu, or something, where the Hawaiian language is spoken. Increasingly popular ahi poke is generally made with yellowfin tuna and so on. So it's like sushi, but Hawaiian style instead of Japanese style, from what I can tell.
I'd be real curious to try that.
Yeah, so the ahi poke that they're showing here on this is made with tuna, soy sauce, sea salt, green onions, Maui onions, and limu, which is red algae.
Which we have no idea if has any bearing on this restaurant whatsoever.
Well, I looked up Poke Star on Facebook and have sent them a message about coming on and talk about it.
Oh, great.
So I'm already on that, John, so you know. And they referenced that Wikipedia article on their site, because I'm sure people are like, what the hell's poke?
Yeah.
What the hell's poke?
Yeah.
Is that like a bag?
That's a weed, ain't it? It's got the berries, big old purple berries, poke weed.
I thought they put pigs in it, like a
Pig in a
pig
poke.
It's a
Yeah,
bag.
there's that. That's
No.
My wife's always poking me, telling me to quit snoring.
All right, so it's now time for getting in your business.
Yes, it is.
And we have with us today, we have from Combs Produce, we have Ben Combs. So welcome. Yay.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Don't have
you.
any sound effects.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So, as I was telling you in our pregame discussion, that I, along with probably a lot of people in this town, drive by Combs often,
Yep.
but didn't know that you were even still open.
Yeah.
So,
For those that don't know where you're driving by, what are you driving by?
yeah, I was going to ask, what is Combs Produce? Where are you located? And we'll get a little history on that.
Right. Well, we are right at the intersection of Martin Luther King and Trade, just behind the Ramcat. We've been in that facility since 1978 when my grandfather and father built that building. They moved out of the old E.G. Forrest warehouse where they were almost in the same spot where Earl's is now.
Okay.
And we are a full-line fruit and vegetable distributor. We wholesale about 1,500 different items in the course of a year to grocery stores, restaurants, food service accounts, retailers, mom and pops, and just the general public.
So the general public can come in and just buy anything.
Yes. Yeah. Everything is sold in bulk quantities. So if you need a box of apples or, something like that, then yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm not coming in to buy a lemon.
Not a single, no. We do sell bags of biscuit mix and maybe some flavorings for some folks like that, but most everything else is all sold by the case. So
Okay. So for the lay person, what they need to do is find several friends who need the same thing. You go in and buy one and split it amongst you.
that could be, or we've got people that are big into juicing, or we've got families that will come in and buy if they're looking to buy a lot of vegetables all at one time, or if maybe you're looking to can some green beans, you can buy a whole bushel of that, or whatever the case is. But yeah, that'd be a good way.
So when are you open?
Yeah, that's the curveball. Is we're open from midnight to noon, and that's Monday through Friday, and then we're open from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. on Saturdays.
Okay.
So we show up in the middle of the night so we can start unloading trucks that are there when we get there with inbound merchandise, start pulling orders, loading our own delivery trucks out. And then usually by the time we get all that done is when customers start coming to the dock around 6 or 7 in the morning.
So they can pre-order, say, hey, we need this, we need this, we need this, we need this.
Yes.
And then just show up and you're ready to load it into their truck.
Right. Yeah, we've got a lot of customers that will, used to be send fax orders overnight. They'll send text messages now or emails, after they get closed. If it's a business or a restaurant, when they get closed and do their inventory at the end of the night. And then we catch that order at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, pull their order, and then by opening time the next day, it's either delivered to them or they can pick it up at our location.
So who is your normal customer? Who would we expect to see if we showed up at 4 o'clock in the morning?
Well, if you're familiar with Ronnie's Country Store down on Cherry Street, forever that has kind of been our main clientele. It's been independent retail stores, typically mom and pop, roadside stands or old country stores. That's been our primary clientele for the last 50 years. And we just have people like Ronnie scattered all across North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Like I said, we also do sell and deliver to some restaurants. We've got some regional food service accounts, like what used to be with E.G. Forrest, where they deliver to the restaurants.
Right.
We would just sell them full pallets of potatoes or apples or whatever it was. So we've got some fill in there, and then we've started dabbling in some independent retail stores. We've worked a group of Save-A-Lot stores for a long time. There's about 10 here in the state of North Carolina that we sell to. So. But yeah, that's our main clientele, and
so it's not just Winston; it's all over.
Yeah, the 3 states we primarily do business in: North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. We've got a lot of customers that come from those states down here to Winston still, and then we've got several accounts that we deliver out on our own trucks. But we go from Greenville, South Carolina, to Greenville, North Carolina, and from Roanoke, Virginia, to Columbia, South Carolina. That's kind of our sphere that we operate in.
So where does
good size sphere?
Yeah,
it is
about all you can do in a day.
That's a large sphere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where does your stuff come from? So the trucks that deliver to you,
yeah.
You don't have to give any specifics, but I mean,
no, that's fine. Yeah,
generally, where is the?
But if you want to give specifics, feel free.
There you go. Yeah, we buy from all over. We buy from grower shippers and brokers that are in other states, maybe in California or Florida. We buy from other larger wholesalers, like on the Atlanta Farmers Market, which is one of the largest farmers markets in the United States. So they've got a lot of smaller growers that come to that farmers market, and then the wholesalers can turn right around and distribute that merchandise up and down the eastern seaboard. But we've even got some importers and brokers that do items from South America or Mexico. We ourselves, we load California trucks 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and same way on Florida trucks. We've got our own Florida trucks that come up every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And do those.
You're buying such quantity, it's worth just sending your own truck down as opposed to letting somebody else do it.
Well, we have brokers that line up freight trucks for us, but yeah, we might put together. It might pick up at 4 different locations in California or in Florida or wherever, and then just bring it all to us. But then in the summertime, we've got a lot of local growers around Winston, and that's been a big lure for a long time for us as well. As we've got probably 25 or 30 different farmers throughout North Carolina and South Carolina that we buy from and have real long working relationships with. They carry everything from tomatoes to strawberries. They're just fixing to start in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Sweet potatoes, you name it, collard greens. Throughout the whole year, North Carolina provides a lot of different commodities that we're fortunate to have that not everywhere in the country.
That's the beauty of the climate here. Is people complain that it's cold or hot, but for the most part, it's temperate compared to everybody else.
Yes,
and it's year round.
Long growing season.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about it is it runs the whole spectrum. I mean, from up in the mountains, you've got apples and peaches and all kinds of orchards that grow that variety of fruit.
Nuts.
And then you've got here in the Piedmont, you've got everything from tomatoes to green beans, squash, and zucchini. And then you move down towards the coast, and that's when you get into sweet potatoes, collard greens, all, so we run the whole spectrum pretty much 9 months out of the year. You can find some kind of commodities coming out of North Carolina.
What would you say is if you had to pick just one, what is your best selling item?
Tomatoes. By far. Yeah. And it's funny. I mean, that's what we started doing was gassing and grading tomatoes only. That was it. We didn't sell any other commodities. We would just buy them solid green. We would bring them into coolers, and you artificially gas them with ethylene, which is the gas that fruits naturally produce, but this just accelerates that process. So for restaurants, typically, if they're going to slice tomatoes, they want something firm that maybe they could put through a machine. Like if you go to Subway, how they're all cut the same, they usually put those through a machine that does it. So you need a firm tomato, but you need it red enough to have some flavor to it. So that would be a tomato that's been gassed. If you let it vine ripe and turn red on its own, it's going to be too soft to put through that machine, and it'll just turn it into
mush.
Yes. So
crushed tomato.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be like a crushed tomato.
Yeah.
But forever, when my grandfather started that company, that's all he and my father did for 25 or 30 years. Was just gassing and grading tomatoes. But we've added over the years, we added apples, added oranges, added cabbage, added lettuce, to fill our customers' needs, provide more value for them. Because, customers we had that were just buying tomatoes, they would say, well, I had to give somebody else my lettuce and my corn and everything else and the tomatoes to get the whole order delivered. Yeah. So, we started broadening our portfolio when we started losing out on some accounts like that. But
do you have any local restaurants per se that come directly to you instead of going through their distributors?
Yeah, we have several, but they may not use us for everything. But we do have some that use us here in Winston. I was actually looking it up. We've got about 30 within 5 miles of here.
Wow.
We do like sweet potatoes. They buy apples and green tomatoes to fry. We've got Cranky's Coffee. Sell them a lot of glass bottle sodas and some dried beans that they use for different dishes. One specifically is like the Blenheim ginger ale we sell. Is a big seller down there.
We discussed Blenheim.
No, thank you.
Yeah. It's a love it or hate it. There's no in between on Blenheim.
And I had it.
Well, they're not all hot. They're not all hot.
No.
Some of them are.
I had a hot one sprung on me.
Yeah, if you see
you'll love this.
If you see the one with the pink lid, it'll wake you up.
Run.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it was a pink one. No, I think it was red.
There you go. Yeah.
But I was like, oh my, this is not what I expected from ginger ale.
Very
Sorry.
peppery.
Yes.
Yeah, it almost take your breath away a little bit.
Yeah.
But we've got even like Pulliam's hot dogs. Come up there and get cabbage to make a slaw with.
Yeah.
You name it. We've got a broad mix of them, and like El Paisano over on Walltown Street.
Sure.
Yep.
We sell them a lot of limes and peppers, onions, just kind of stuff they're making. Their whatever kind of Mexican cuisine they're doing.
Their staples come from you.
Yeah. So there's we hit a lot of different restaurants, and they all use us for different items. But we've got a pretty broad mix.
Good. I know. I'm friends with Em and Elliot at Fair Share Farms and a couple of the other local farmers.
Sure.
So I like restaurants that use local stuff because it's healthy for you on an allergen level because the plants that were raised in the same place that you're from, like honey as well, is better for your allergies because it's like getting a flu shot, or an allergy shot even, because you're ingesting the same stuff that you would be exposed to anyway.
Right.
So that's always a good thing. I love that stuff.
Yep.
How long have you been involved?
I have been there full time since 2012, when I graduated from Wake Forest. Before then, when I was in school at Appalachian, I would work in the summers and whenever I could. But full time, I've been there since 2012.
Okay.
So.
And you recently got married.
I did, January 19th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, sir.
For your first year,
so far so good. She hasn't kicked me out yet or
That's good.
beat me up, so I'm doing all right.
That's good. Is she involved in this, or does she do something else?
She does not work with us. She actually works for Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center.
Okay.
She works in the marketing department. So right there next to Wendy's, there's a brown brick building there
Yep.
on Cloverdale.
Yeah.
That's where she's
A
at.
nondescript
Yeah.
brown building.
Yeah.
You really wouldn't notice that one.
No.
Yeah, that one's so she's not in the hospital. She's not, hands-on people necessarily, but she's working on filling in content for all the doctors, all their, working with their social media people when they do videos. So she's got her hands in all that. But
That's a lot of people to keep up with, too.
oh gosh, there's a whole team of people just working on that website all the time because they've constantly got, they just did a whole redo on the entire website for the whole medical center. So I mean, you're talking just thousands of pages of content that have to be transferred from the old platform to the new platform. You've got, doctors want specific content on, they want specific videos on. It's all got to look the same. So it was a years-long project for a lot of people.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So, what do you foresee the future of Combs Produce being?
It's changed quite a bit even since I've started. For us specifically, like I said, those independent retailers, the mom and pops, have been our lifeblood forever. And even people coming to Winston-Salem. At one point in time, there were almost a dozen different produce companies in the city, and now there's down to 2.
Wow.
So there used to be, obviously E.G. Forrest was a big wholesaler, started at the turn of the last century.
Yeah.
There was Branscombe Tomato, Tar Heel Banana, there was Winston Tomato. I mean, there was just on and on and on. And, those people, like their kids have grown up and they do something else. They don't necessarily want to take over their mom and dad's place. There's a lot of them that, just died out, didn't have anybody to take it over. So that's, been on our radar for a long time. There's a lot of them that just don't want to make the drive anymore. With traffic anywhere you go. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're going to Charlotte, if you're going somewhere in Virginia, if you're going somewhere to Raleigh. What used to be an easy trip for them to come get, all their stuff from Winston and then go back and be open at retail time, it's just too long of a trip for them anymore. So we've started delivering a lot more than we used to. Primarily forever, it was probably 90% of our business was here off the dock in Winston. But it's probably 50-50 or maybe 60-40 delivery to pick up now.
It's a huge shift in a pretty short time frame.
Yeah, that's all happened in less than 10 years. And a lot of that had to do with the recession. There were a lot of those independent people that just couldn't make ends meet, when their customers were out of work or whatever, and it just really...
At the same time, fuel prices were skyrocketing.
Yes, yeah, when gas and diesel got up and like pushing $4 a gallon and all that, that really put the squeeze on some of them too. So
Yeah, my family used to be in the trucking industry.
oh gosh,
And,
really, you know all about it.
So anytime that those things would happen,
Yep.
it was really rough.
Yes. Yeah. It's challenging for sure. And even in the few trucks we've got to run, you've got new DOT regulations. You've got, you name it. There's just constantly something going on.
Nickel and diming you, basically.
Yeah.
Dog and pony show nickel
Yes.
and diming.
It's all pretty much taxes, more taxes than you already pay.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
What it boils
They
down
call
to.
it regulation, but it's really just a tax.
Yes. Pretty
And
much.
it's not like you can just grab a truck anymore and go.
No. No.
It used to be you could.
Yeah, but I mean now even equipment is more complicated than it used to be. All these big trucks have regen systems and DEF systems on there that not any shade tree mechanic can run. So it's
Right.
expensive to run trucks, period, even for the individuals.
Yeah.
So we've that's where we found a lot of our success is delivering out kind of away from here to hit those same people that used to come, and then on those same lanes we've kind of been beating the bushes and picking up some other business like in Charlotte, down eastern North Carolina, all the way from Raleigh to Fayetteville. Like I said, we go, all the way to Greenville, South Carolina. So, I mean, we're, constantly looking in that circle, to see what we can add to new routes. Are there any new commodities we can carry? Are there any new line items that maybe, we can add that with our current stuff to make an order for somebody? So
that's an interesting thing right there. Do you actually go out looking, not you particularly, but the company, go out looking for new products? And that's funny in the food industry, especially what you guys do to say new products, because basically you're using the same thing that people have used for hundreds of years.
Yes.
But is there I guess you can find new suppliers and new like varieties of things. Is that something that actively happens, or do they usually come to you for, or is it a half and half thing?
It's a mix, and it depends on like people's preferences change over time. Kale for us used to just be like an oddball thing. I mean, we might sell like 5 or 10 boxes of kale a week. Well, it's probably been 10 years ago now, I guess, the way time gets by, but like Dr. Oz or somebody, came on TV and said, kale has all of these health benefits, and then all of a sudden it's just like
You can't carry enough.
it exploded. Now we carry like pallets of kale, and there's just certain items like that kind of ebb and flow. But they're all the time, crossbreeding different kinds of apples like you see in the store now. You got like sweet tangos, you've got, just you name it. There's a slew of them, like jazz apples and all kinds of just weird things that usually if we can get 1 or 2 of our customers started on an item like that, well then, we'll usually fill that in with another wholesaler until we kind of get a demand for it, and then we'll try and buy it directly on our own to, get some of our other people started on it.
Outside of like obviously the seasonal things that are hard to find, do you find the restaurants or whomever comes to you, do you find they pretty much just have a standing order, or do they change it up for the week or however often they come?
There's a lot of people that kind of have just like the regular mix of things. Like, one of our customers is the West End Cafe.
Oh, yeah.
You can just about kind of predict what theirs is going to be, but they run weekly specials, so they might add, pineapples this week to some kind of dish that they're doing, or they might add, one other special item for a different dish that they're doing for a short period of time. But
now, do you go to them and go, "Hey, I got a ton of pineapples in this week. Do y'all want to deal on some pineapples?" Or is it them figuring, "Oh, I want to do it this way"?
Well, I think that kind of is about a 50-50 split too. We've got a price sheet that we put out every day, and if there's something that we've come across a deal on or that we're long on, we might drop the price on it, and then they'll see, well, okay, this is $3 or $4 cheaper than it was last week. Maybe I can work that into what we're doing. But some of them, like with our stores, a lot of them they'll pre-book ads like weeks in advance just to make sure they've got that merchandise. So it just depends, store versus restaurant, and then kind of how they do their planning, what we're going to carry.
So you say you put out a price sheet every day.
Yep.
Does someone have to sit there and go, "Wow, we have an abundance of these. Let's try to move them out"? Is that something that happens every single day, or is you just have, we know we're going to do this week, we're putting this together?
Your inventory is remarkably time sensitive.
Yes. Everything, when it hits the dot, clock's ticking.
It's not like if you were a clothier, you can go, "Well, we'll just hold that for next season."
Right. Yeah. Just stuff it in the back closet till you're
right,
ready
sure.
to bring it out next time. No, this is, that's something we're constantly doing all the time.
You need to move every bit of it.
Every day. We've got certain days we load the trucks on Monday, Wednesday, Friday out of Florida. Well, every Monday morning, Wednesday morning, and Friday morning, you'll kind of get a rundown of all the like corn, vegetable items, tomatoes, like whatever, oranges, whatever we're trying to load.
Yeah.
And then you'll order based on what you have here and then kind of what you have forecasted to go out the rest of the week. But it is a never ending, even when we're closed and I'm at home, like sometimes it's still in the back of your mind, like, "Oh man, I got to get rid of that." I got some potatoes in there that are getting weak. I need to, so it's just all the time.
Who's going to take potatoes this week?
Yeah, exactly. So, and sometimes you'll think about something like that, and then you think of a customer that could use that, and you'll shoot them a text, and they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, give me 20 tomorrow," and then you'll just kind of keep the ball rolling that way. But it takes my father, myself, and we have another guy in the office, Drew, working on our sales all the time, just to try and. That's just the juggling act we do all the time, trying to buy and sell and have everything that everybody needs.
So you said you started full time in 2012. Did you work there as a kid? Did you like summer jobs or in between like holiday jobs or anything?
I tried to. It's that's a hard schedule for kids to get acclimated to. Like I would try and stay up all night when I was a little kid, but it's hard to stay up 12 hours from midnight to noon when you're 8. It's just kind of backwards. So I really didn't get very involved with it until high school. When you got your driver's license, well then you can start going out on some trucks and learning where the customers are and doing that. And then I pretty much started at the bottom. I mean, I was there pulling orders, unloading trucks, just doing like all the rest of our employees do. And then, you know, maybe one person in the office was out sick. Well, you know, I'd sit in there and make invoices for a couple days till they got back or so. I mean, I just kind of worked my way along, you know, as I got time to, but finally did everything enough to where I kind of know how to do it all now.
So are you there personally from midnight to noon every day?
I am
basically
there.
working the third shift.
Yeah, my shift is all over the place. I pretty much fill wherever needs to be filled. Now, my father gets there at 10 o'clock every night on the dot, 52 weeks a year. He's there all the time. And he stays there till about noon the next day or 1 o'clock every single day. And I'll come in about like 3 in the morning and I'll stay till 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night, you know, just however long it takes, usually getting done with the day, kind of prepping for the next day. And then, you know, whenever I leave, a couple hours later, he's in the door starting for that morning. So there's one of us in the building all but about 2 or 3 hours of the day. Yeah. And that's...
So this isn't a business that sleeps, regardless whether it's nighttime or daytime sleeping.
Yeah, it's all the time.
All of your ordering and your communication with everyone is going to happen, I'm guessing, during normal business hours.
Right. There's most of our vendors are normal, like maybe 6 to 2 or 8 to 5, or either they're in California, so they're maybe a couple hours behind us. So I mean, you know, you're kind of, you know, playing that the whole time too. But you know, we'll work from about midnight to 8 in the morning, and then 8 is kind of when the phones start ringing, and that's when you start doing all your buying for the next day, getting a hold of customers for the next day, trying to line up the next day's events. So,
do you deal with food trucks?
There are a few that come around here in Winston. And we've got a couple that, like, they may come and pick up, not in their truck, but, you know,
Sure.
they'll pick up stuff and take it back to their trucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We've got a few of those.
All right. I wasn't asking about this in particularly, but
Yeah.
there's a food truck that I know of that's trying to find a commissary,
Sure.
and it just made me think of fresh produce for
Yeah.
stuff. So I'm like, we're talking fresh produce, so
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Well, it depends on what they're making too. You know, if somebody's making hot dogs or something in a food truck, it's kind of, I mean, you're a little limited unless you're, you know, they're making slaw or they're making fries with potatoes. You know, there's only so much we could do for them. But now there are other varieties of food trucks that are, you know, it opens up a few more doors for us to try and sell them something different.
Yeah.
So
Are you working with like larger institutional accounts in the area as well?
yeah, we've got several, and you know, the few restaurants that we sell to directly, you know, there are some other restaurants that might be buying from customers that we sell to. Like there are a couple that specifically focus on restaurants more. Like one of them, it's in Greensboro. It's called All Fresh, and they pretty much exclusively do restaurant deliveries. And same way, like
So you supply them and their
right. So that, you know, one of those companies might be looking for, you know, a pallet of onions, and then they take it and then they sell by the bag or by the lesser quantities to restaurants, because restaurants are a little bit tougher too. They don't always need as much of everything as, you know, maybe a retail customer will buy 15, 20 boxes of tomatoes. Well, you know, restaurant, maybe they only need like 10 pounds or 15 or whatever it is. So, you know, we pretty much hit the restaurants that sell full case quantities of things, and then there are companies that kind of specifically just do restaurants, and they'll split red peppers into 5-pound bags or 5-pound boxes or something. Like E.G. Farr specifically was one that did that, and then there are other ones around that still do, but yeah, it's not exactly our niche because that's more food service.
Now you're saying that there's only a couple of companies here in Winston that do what you do?
Yep. There's the other large wholesalers, W.R. Vernon Produce on Cherry Street.
Right.
And then there's us, and then there's Triad Produce is a food service, kind of pretty much a food service only company that's still in the parking lot where we are. So I guess there's 3 left in Winston, but that's it.
Where there had been A dozen or
At
more?
some point, yeah, there was almost a dozen. There was one up by the fairgrounds on Coliseum called Plemons and Irvin. It's right there where they got all the refrigerators and all. That used to be a wholesale produce house, and like I said, and the block where we are used to be one tobacco warehouse before it burned down in the late 70s. But at one point, we were in there. Tar Heel Banana was in there, and there were several other wholesalers that were all in that same building. But
What do you think really kept y'all afloat when all the others have faded out?
I mean, a lot of them closed before I ever really, was involved with the business. So it's hard to say. Now I know a few of them just kind of aged out and didn't have any kids that wanted to take it over, or either didn't have any kids at all and couldn't sell the business to anybody, because it's kind of it's a niche business. I mean, it's not like, if somebody closes a restaurant, somebody else can open that same restaurant back up or carry it on. It's it's a weird thing if you haven't ever done it before. But
I'm guessing it's relationship driven.
yeah, and I mean, you build your customer base over years, you build your vendor, list over years like that, and it's one company that closed right when I first started it was called Branscombe Tomato Company, and they did kind of what my grandfather and father started doing years ago. They just gassed and graded and repacked tomatoes, and they actually got bought by a larger company. It's called the Lippman Corporation. They're the largest tomato grower, repacker, and shipper in the United States. And Branscombe had some business they wanted. It was like Subway or something like that. So they just
Bought
threw them a pile of cash and closed the place down and took the business to somewhere in Tennessee.
That's what happened with E.G. Forrest too, I believe.
Yeah,
because I was the first one in this building.
right.
When I did a walkthrough, I mean, the awards were left on the table, just dust on top of them.
Yep.
There was a room in the back that had computers with printer paper, just actually feeding, the old dot matrix with the running,
Yeah.
and it was just like stuff there. Mm-hmm. The phones, everything was still there. I mean, they had tried to do an auction, and some people did auction some
Right.
stuff off, but my wife said it looked like they had been raptured.
Yeah.
Just up and
Here
we're
one day, gone the next.
Yeah.
That one caught us off guard. EG was one of our top 10 customers.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know what all happened with it, but they pretty much started coming unglued about 10 years ago when they lost their K&W account. That K&W was EG's lifeblood for a long time.
I would imagine they were buying a lot of food.
Oh gosh, I mean, they delivered them all the way down to Florida. So I mean, they were big time. And then they had other accounts too besides that, but something happened with that. I don't know the full story of it. I've heard third-handed what happened, but essentially K&W, I think it was like there was somebody in EG that was supposed to get promoted to some C-suite level position, and he was like their K&W sales guy, and they didn't hire him for that job, and they hired somebody else from outside, and he pretty much quit, went to work for K&W, and took the account away from them. I think was kind of how that worked. But
Wow.
So you probably know this. Was this the office? Was this room here where the head? Because I know there's a safe,
right.
and I know that the on the other side that's the drop box for the drivers to drop their stuff off. So
Yep.
I'd only imagine that probably this was the accounting office.
Yeah, this was kind of the back end, just paperwork, I think, component of it. They actually had 3 separate parts. They had this office, they had their freezer, which is the
Rock box.
the rock box now, where they just kind of had like overflow storage. And then they had their facility across the street from us up on Trade.
Sure.
And that was kind of like their main distribution facility. That's where all the action really happened as far as loading and unloading trucks. That's where all their fresh, frozen, and dry stuff was kept. So this was, to my knowledge, this was just all paperwork and all clerical stuff.
Okay.
But
So
well-
losing a top 10 account like EG, how did y'all bounce back from that?
yeah, well, see, the thing of it was, like you said, I guess whenever they decided they were going to close, they sold the business component to a larger food service company. It's called Merchants Food Service, and they're based out of Mississippi or Alabama somewhere. They had a facility in South Carolina, and they just essentially they still service the accounts that EG had from that facility. So every night they'll send full trailers up here to Winston to Salem Leasing up off Patterson.
Yeah.
Drop the trailers and the drivers come there and pick up the trucks, go run the routes and bring it back there, and then they shuttle the empties home every night. So the business just vanished. Like they had their own suppliers and they had their own distribution chain somewhere else, and then EG sold the facilities and buildings and all that to somebody here in Winston. But we pretty much, I mean, just took that one on the chin. I mean, there wasn't really any kind of replacing that, at least not around here.
No.
Now we bought I guess it was the fourth produce company here in Winston. One of the last ones. It was called Winston Tomato Company. We bought it in 2014, which was right around the same time EG was closing.
Yeah, because there was a calendar on the wall in my office in there that said 2014. So
Yep.
I figured they hadn't gone any further than that.
Yeah, it was sometime around that. I can't remember exactly when now, but Winston Tomato essentially kind of did what we did and what Vernon did and what Triad did, but it was just one guy. And he had two other employees, and we pretty much just bought his business and closed it because we had a lot of overlapping customers, a lot of overlapping commodities, and he was older. I mean, he was in his 60s and didn't have anybody to sell it to or take it over or whatever. And he was experiencing some of the same crunches we were. People weren't coming to Winston as much as they were during the recession and all that, so that helped. Kind of, the customers we always had where we just got a fraction of their business, maybe like 2/3 of it or half of it or whatever, and split the rest with Winston Tomato. We got it all then, so that helped kind of soften the blow a little bit. But even still, we've just had to kind of go out and either pick up new customers, pick up new item lines, new something to kind of fill that void. But yeah, the EG account was tough.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So I have to ask.
Yep.
Your wife calls and says, "Hey, we're having this blah 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 tonight for dinner.
Right.
We're out of something." Do you just pick it up and take it home?
Sometimes. It depends on what it is. Now, if it's a tomato, sure, like you can walk in there and get one out of a box, and we're constantly grading through stuff like that all the time, so you always have like a piece of a box sitting around.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of, and people ask me that all the time. They're like, "Do you even go to the grocery store?" I'm like, "Well, yes, I still have to go." Like, there are other things besides produce, but a lot of what we sell, and same as any wholesaler, they have like a specific weight or a specific count or whatever. And like, if you take some of it, then you can't sell it for what it's supposed to be. Like, if it's an 88 count apple, and you take 3 or 4, like, then all of a sudden you're having to discount that to somebody because it's not a full case. So.
But like you said, there's some time restrictions, and you're starting to date out.
Right.
So you're like, well, we need to use this tomato anyway.
Yeah. So I mean,
this one's relegated to the "please sell me today" pile. So.
And sometimes one of our guys, maybe they're unloading a truck and they just fork a box of oranges with a forklift or something. Well, yeah, you can take a couple home and just write that one off as a loss. But yeah, so it just depends. But
I'm guessing y'all try to have as minimal write-off as possible.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, it used to be that something like that, like a box of tomatoes, was cheap. I mean, it didn't make any difference. It was $4, $5, $6, $8, whatever it was. But I mean, now, when somebody does something like that, if they crush a box or something, I mean, it could be, right. And if it's a box of lettuce and lettuce is high, it could be $40. So you don't want to bung one up like that, because it can really add up quick depending on what the commodity is.
Do y'all work with local charities in the area as well? I'm guessing when you get stuff that's like on that edge, now you really don't have another customer for it.
We've got, we have in the past, donated items like to the food bank. There's been some times like at Christmas when we'll load citrus real heavy and we just kind of missed the mark and we're long on navels. Like there was one year, several years ago, we just had like, I think it's 5 pallets of navel oranges that we just bought long on and screwed up. And the only place to go with something like that besides a dump is really to somebody like the food bank that can distribute it over a large area and try and move it. But we've got a lot of we've got several customers that can take some distressed merchandise too for discount, and that helps out. But there are still, even there's some people that come there every week and try and pick up anything that they can to get donated. Like, during Christmas time specifically, we've got a lot of churches that, you know, will donate some fruit to, or sometimes if somebody's having a 5K and needs a box of bananas or something to hand out at the end. I mean, there's a lot of that kind of stuff that we can try and make a home for if it's salvageable enough to do. So,
Well, is there anything else you want our listeners to know about Combs Produce that we may not have covered?
I think we pretty much hit it all right on the head. But, you know, we've been here in Winston since 1945, and we're going to do everything we can do to stay here and stay relevant and keep providing value for people. And, you know, best way I know is to just tell people we're there, because I know, like you said, when you drive by, it doesn't look like we're doing much of anything. But
That daily sheet that you talked about, is that available on your website?
It's not, just because it changes every single day. But if people call in, I mean, we can email it, we can fax it, we can scan it, we can text it, you know, because not every price changes every day, but almost something almost changes every single day, whether it's, you know, corn today, squash tomorrow, tomatoes today, whatever. So it's constantly changing so much that it's hard to put online with that many different items. But if anybody's curious about the items that we sell, we've got, you know, an unpriced list on our website, so you can see what the items are, and then you can just call, or we can email what the price is for that particular day.
So what's the website?
It's www.combswholesale.com.
And phone number?
It's 336-723-1669.
Awesome. Well, Ben, thank you so much. This is,
Yeah.
you know, I love the behind the scenes aspect
Yeah.
of business, and especially something, you know, you grow up eating this stuff, and you go to the store and buy all this, and I've watched the people stock them at the grocery store. I'm like, where does that come from?
Yeah.
Where does that come? I mean, I know farms, but I mean, but
Right.
but it's
But from
how
the farm,
but how
how's
does
it
it get
here?
there? I've always been fascinated with the middleman aspect,
Sure.
and it's just, I found it awesome that
Well,
we had you in here to talk about.
We look at it this day and age, it's so radically different than it would have been even a couple hundred years ago. Yeah, you
Yep.
may have had some things that could have handled coming across the ocean or across country, but the way we've got the trucking industry today, you can get something within a day or two from just about anywhere.
There's specifically with basil, we get it flown in from Hawaii to the Greensboro airport. Like, I mean, that's how quick it can get from Hawaii to here. You know, like just something that you wouldn't even think about.
I had to buy basil yesterday.
I wouldn't have thought that it would be coming from Hawaii, though.
I mean, it comes from, you know, there are growers all over, but just in that particular instance, you know, with that one commodity, we get it just underneath the belly of whatever plane is coming that way. They'll just throw a couple boxes of basil under for us, and we go pick it up in Greensboro. So,
That's cool.
yep. But
Thank you so much for being here.
yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. All right, once again, thank you to Ben Combs.
Thanks,
of Combs
Ben.
Produce. That was truly an enlightening interview.
Really?
Or conversation. We don't have interviews, but
We have good conversation.
it was. I mean, when I thought about it at first, I'll be honest, I'm like, okay, it's a produce company, what can we do? But I love the behind the scenes aspect and the family, and just the knowledge that he had about the products and his company, and which is exciting.
1,500 different items over the course of a year.
Wow.
Part of me just I want to go look. What do you got? You know, I might not need a case of apples right now, but to your point, you know, hey, 3 or 4 people say, why don't we all go in and do that? And
Yeah.
I do want to go see the operation now.
And I'll pick it up for you. That's what we need to do.
Yeah. Some Granny Smith, make some apple pies. Get Corey involved.
Yes.
We'll let him make them.
Corey would do a great job with that. And
Corey,
my son, let's see what he does.
Oh,
He doesn't bake so much, but we can get him to make something with the other stuff.
but you know, we could do our own version of Chopped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your mystery ingredient today, apples. Brought to you by Combs Produce.
Exactly. All right.
So tell us about some other stuff.
Food holidays, or as we like to call it, shit we find funny.
Yes.
So today is the 25th of March, the
It is.
325.
And it is also I have to say, the first day of the pollinating.
Oh, I saw green stuff.
My windshield was yellow when I got out this morning. I was like, it's happened! It's pollinating!
Which means everybody's going to be sick next week.
Oh my gosh, our sinuses are going crazy. Thank you!
But lucky for me, I don't get sick during this. As allergic as I am to everything.
The pollen doesn't get you.
It's when everything starts growing
Oh.
that gets me. The hay fever is when it kicks in.
Ah, the grass.
Now, I say that, now I'll probably get sick next week, but I take a Zyrtec every day. So let's hope that helps.
The next couple of weeks, it's taking 2 every day.
So 325 is Lobster Newburgh Day.
Yay!
I
I
don't.
don't.
I have no clue what that is.
I don't eat lobster.
You don't like lobster?
I didn't say I didn't like it. I've had lobster one time in my life, and I immediately got violently ill.
Perhaps you're allergic.
Perhaps. I'm never going to find out for sure because I have no intention of ever eating lobster.
Well, for us who like lobster, Lobster Newburgh is an American seafood dish made from lobster, butter, cream, cognac, sherry, eggs, and cayenne pepper.
It sounds great.
Yes.
I mean, I love shrimp, so I'm thinking lobster and shrimp are probably close to each other. I'll just make it with shrimp.
Do that.
I'll do that.
It's also Pecan Day.
Pecan Day.
Yeah, okay. Not to be confused with National Pecan Day, which is April 14th.
That's what you do in a can. You pee
Pea in a can. That's how I never say. I say pecan or pecan or pecan, not whatever. It's pecan, really. I don't know why I even said the other thing, but you do pee in a can.
Yeah.
Again, not to be confused with National Pecan Day, which is April 14th. And the reason today is Pecan Day is in 1775, George Washington planted pecan trees, some of which are still alive
That's cool.
at Mount Vernon. I think that's in Virginia. The trees were supposedly a gift to Washington from Thomas Jefferson.
Nice. So now there's an actual reason to have the holiday, as opposed to, well, you know, the pecan growers of America think this is a good day to remind you that you should be buying pounds of pecans.
We'll talk about that on April 14th.
Yes, we will.
On this day in 1995, Pizza Hut introduced the stuffed crust pizza.
Oh, has it been that far back now?
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
And honestly, why didn't somebody come up with that before 1995? Really, it's not like it's a brilliant concept, and yet it is.
It's brilliant because no one else was doing it.
Exactly.
In 2008, on this day, sadly, Herb Peterson passed away. He was the
Not
creator.
Herb.
Yes, Herb. Or Herb Peterson, creator of
Peaches.
McDonald's Egg McMuffin breakfast sandwich.
Oh, you know what? That is actually my favorite of the McDonald's breakfast sandwiches.
I was a sausage McMuffin guy. I like those the most, but
That Canadian bacon. Love that.
yeah, well, that's true. That is some good stuff.
Now, I would say I like them if they leave the yolk just a little bit runny. Of course, they never do.
No.
But that's when it's really a good Egg McMuffin.
The 26th is National Nougat Day.
Nougat.
Nougat.
Like what's in the middle of my Snickers bar.
Yes, exactly. It's a family of confections made with sugar or honey. Roasted nuts, almonds, walnuts, pistachios, hazelnut, and macadamia nuts are common. Whipped white eggs and sometimes candied fruit. So
Nougat.
there is a operating system called Nougat, but that's not what we're talking about. And we're not talking about the guitarist Ted Nugent.
I was going to say, it's not Ted Nugent.
No, definitely not him. And tomorrow is also National Spinach Day.
You know, as a kid, I'd have been like, take that off.
Yeah.
Get rid of that.
Now I love it.
Get rid of National Spinach Day. We don't. Yeah, now I love it. And at Yamas, have you had the spanakopita yet?
Yeah, I had it the first day. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Stephanie had it the Friday night.
Yeah, for those that haven't tried it, it's the phyllo dough and then the stuffed spinach in the middle, and
It's basically a
it's so
spinach
good.
pie. It's like
So
a spinach
good.
turnover.
Yeah, spinach turnover. That's the way to talk about it. It was really good.
On the 26th in 1753, Benjamin Thompson, Count von Rumford, was born. He was an American physician who invented the percolator,
Oh,
a pressure cooker, and a kitchen stove. He is frequently credited with creating the dessert Baked Alaska.
well. And what was his name again?
Benjamin Thompson. He was born in 1753 on the 26th of March.
Okay.
On the 26th of March in 1880, Duncan Hines was born. He was a
Duncan.
traveling salesman, and he published a list of his favorite restaurants and dishes, adventures in good eating in 1935. And, of course, you know, he has cake mixes. Yeah.
But, I guess I always assumed that Duncan and Hines were two surnames. That was this gentleman's actual name, Duncan Hines.
Do you remember the music artist named Duncan Sheik?
Yes,
Well, there was...
barely breathing.
Yes, I'm barely breathing. The rumor was that he was related to Duncan Hines somehow.
Huh.
I don't know if it's true. I'm just saying there was a rumor.
It's a rumor. We didn't start it.
We didn't start the fire either.
No.
It was always burning since the world's been turning.
Yeah, we didn't start that fire.
Nope. On the 27th of March, Whole Grain Sampling Day.
What?
Whole Grain Sampling Day.
All right, that's a lobbying company right there. Whole grain sampling. What the hell? You don't sample whole grains.
Yeah, let's try this one. You know, they kind of taste like
Grainy.
dust. Yeah.
Let's see, maybe we should turn them into flour and put them in something, and now we should be sampling it.
Look at this. But
I'm sorry, it just sounds stupid.
you're right. It's also National Spanish Paella Day, and I love paella.
Remind me, what is paella?
Okay, paella it's a rice dish that has mussels and shrimp and clams and chorizo and other sausages and some onions and red peppers and usually probably some chicken stock in there too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Where? Who's got it? I'm ready to have a bowl now.
Let's see, who does have it here locally? I got to think on that. But I love paella. They used to have it at 6th and Vine when Will Kingery was there. I don't know if they still do on the menu. But
Well, that sounds like the ultimate meat lover's dish.
yeah. Last
Sounds
time,
great.
well, I think I made one at home. But the time before that, there was one of these farm to table events that I went to, and someone was there, and they made them on a pan that was as big as this table. And the listeners can't see the table, but
It's a good
it's
size
4 foot.
table.
It's a 4 foot wide table.
And I'm looking at that as a pan, thinking that's a big pan.
Yeah. They set up like on
It's lunch size portion.
yeah, and I don't know what it was sitting on, but it was. Oh, I know what it was. It was on the tripod type system and over an open fire.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Fire. We love to cook with fire.
Fire! On the 27th is also, and something I can get behind, International Whiskey Day.
Oh, yes.
And
That's
that's-
Wednesday?
That's Wednesday. And that is with the E and without the E. So it's whiskey across the board.
So,
So it's Scotch or Irish or American.
so in other words, we've got to go have some whiskey on Wednesday.
Hell yeah.
Who's got half price whiskey on Wednesday?
And again, that's not to be confused with World Whiskey Day, which is in May.
What day in May?
I don't know. It just says May.
Because May 25th is be a good day for it. 'Cause
Is that
that's-
your birthday?
That's my birthday, yeah.
Tim, who used to be on the show, our friend Tim, his
Tim.
wife's birthday is the 23rd.
Oh, well, then she's a fellow Gemini.
Yes. Okay, so according to the website, Whiskey Day says on this date, let every whiskey lover annually raise a dram wherever in the world he or she may be, to honor the many unsung heroes of the past and present who have been crafting the king of drinks for centuries and hopefully continue to do so to the end of time.
To the end of time.
Yes.
Well said, sir.
On the 27th in 1912, First Lady Helen Taft and Viscountess Chinda, wife of the Japanese ambassador, planted the first 2 cherry trees from Japan in the tidal basin in the West Potomac Park in Washington, D.C.
And now it's known for its cherry
Yeah,
trees.
they have that. The festival is in honor of what happened 109 years ago.
Wow,
on
that's
Wednesday.
cool. Now, I got to ask, why am I only having a dram of whiskey? I'm back on whiskey. I haven't left whiskey, actually.
Well, here's the thing. There's plenty of different kinds of whiskey.
So we should have a dram of each, is what you're saying?
Yes.
All of them?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. When someone said go have a pint, okay, well, I had a pint of that. Let's have a pint of this. So they say we have a dram. We'll have a dram of this and a dram of that. And why not a dram of that? Definitely a dram of that.
And
I'll
that.
just take the whole bottle of that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
But you can go ahead and 4 drams of that one, that one, that one, that one, and those 7.
We'll just call it a flight.
Yeah. Woo! It's going to be flying.
Absolutely. I think that's why they call that. In 1923, Sir James Dewar died on the 27th. Speaking of...
Dewar died.
But Dewar died. A Scottish chemist and physicist in 1892, he invented the Dewar flask, which is the original thermos bottle.
Oh.
But
So we
not-
love him.
Yeah, so we can't call it a thermos because it was a different thing, but it's what thermos was based on.
Interesting.
The 28th is National Black Forest Cake Day.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Cake. Let them eat cake.
It's also Something on a Stick Day. Here's a little known fact that I've not talked about on this show before. I
been
used
on a
to
stick?
I used to own the domain shitonastick.biz. and when you go to it, it would go to my Facebook page. But but yeah, it was shitonastick.biz. That's
Wow, what a great website to
Yeah,
have. Now,
yes.
you need to do something with that.
Oh, I let it expire. I don't know if anybody else is there. I'm sure it's still out there. But you know, I like corn dogs.
I like corn dogs.
So there you go. You can have that for
You know,
something
I have
else,
some
too.
fond memories of elementary school cafeteria days.
Absolutely.
My grandmother used to make them. But I mean, there's also kebabs. I mean, it's one of the other things that comes to my mind.
Yeah.
I like kebabs. And then like the teriyaki chicken that you get. And so on.
Satays and stuff.
Yeah. So all those things are acceptable.
Yeah. As long as you have something on a stick. You're
Okay,
okay
how
with
big
something
does it have to be to qualify as a stick?
else. Any
Toothpick?
kind of skewer, I guess.
Was a toothpick count?
Yeah.
All right, so
So
if
like the little cocktail weenies wrapped in croissant.
there
bread.
you go. Yeah. Now, can I take a piece of cake and just stick a toothpick in it and call it thing on a stick day?
Is it on a stick?
It is with a toothpick in it.
Winner, chicken.
Yeah, baby. Let's talk about twisting it the way I want it to go.
We call that a slant.
Yes. Horribly slanted.
In 1897, on the 28th, Victor Mills was born. He was a chemical engineer who worked for Procter & Gamble. He improved Duncan Hines cake mixes.
He did?
He improved Jif peanut butter, which he didn't finish improving it, and invented Pampers disposable diapers.
Interesting. Now, people would vilify him today for having created a disposable diaper that just fills up our landfills.
Yeah. Well, they have evolved a little on that, and now they make more biodegradable stuff. So,
Right.
So suck it, tree huggers. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. In 1996, on the 28th, John Leonard submitted an order form along with Pepsi points and a check to Pepsi for a Harrier jump jet.
Whoa.
The Harrier had been featured in a Pepsi commercial as one of the items that could be redeemed for points or a combination of cash and points. The Harrier was listed for 7 million points.
Wow.
Pepsi subsequently refused to send him the Harrier jump jet, the actual cost of which was $23 million. He then sued, and finally a judge ruled that the Harrier jump jet had obviously been mentioned as a joke. So he did not receive his... No word, though, if he got his check back.
Right?
Yeah.
Did they cash it?
Don't know.
Wow. And how much would you figure he had to spend in attorney's fees to have some, I'm sure, fine attorney who got suckered into trying to represent an idiot?
When I read that, before I got to the punchline of it, which wasn't a punchline, that they thought it had been a joke, I thought for sure the judge awarded it to him. But what would he have done with it? Because I'm sure he's not qualified to fly it. And if
Right.
he was, I mean,
But I mean, you literally can buy that kind of thing. I had the opportunity to talk to a gentleman that worked with ATF. And I said, what's the weirdest place that you've had to go to get something? What's your weird story? And he's like, oh yeah, that's when I had to go to Wilmington. Some guy had bought a Russian MiG and the torpedoes were still on it. So he had to go and take the missiles
yeah.
off of the jet before he could take possession of the Russian MiG.
So the ATF guy said WTF.
Yeah.
To that. Okay.
Yeah, like 5 times.
Yeah. The 29th is National Lemon Chiffon Cake Day.
Okay, well, that's all right. It's not chocolate, but lemon chiffon. People like that.
In 1886, on the 29th, Coca-Cola was created by Dr. John Pemberton.
You know, we really need to make that a national holiday. We like to get out of school and everything. I mean,
Or,
the
you
day
know,
that
be like-
Coca-Cola started, I mean,
Yeah.
but look at the impact. One company is it. They
It's the
taught the
most
world to sing
yes.
in perfect harmony.
This is true.
Yeah.
That was a great commercial. That was
It
one
was.
of the greatest things. Did you see Mad Men?
I have not watched Mad Men.
Well, you should
I'm
watch
surprised
Mad Men.
that I haven't
Because
watched
it's
that.
a very big on the advertising thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where they come from. You know, it was Madison Avenue was where all the big advertising agencies were. That's why they were called Mad Men. Not because it rhymed with ad, but because they were on Madison Avenue.
Avenue, man.
On the 29th in 1903, Gustavus Franklin Swift died. He was the founder of meatpacking business Swift & Company, the inventor of the refrigerated railway car, and the first to ship dressed beef to eastern markets instead of live animals.
Wow.
In 1918, and on the 29th, Samuel Moore Walton was born.
Oh.
So we can blame him for Walmart being everywhere.
Yep.
Although
Yeah.
I do like Sam's Club. I'm just not a fan of.
I used to like Sam's Club, but there's 2 of us now, and so I really don't need things in that kind of quantity anymore. There was a day and time.
I prefer Costco, be honest with you. But, yeah. I just can't handle the Walmartians.
I'm in that place multiple times in a week.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't find my groceries for cheaper. I've tried.
On the 29th in 1943, meat and cheese rationing began in the United States due to World War II shortages. On the 30th, here we go, National Turkey Neck Soup Day.
Yeah, no thanks.
It's also National Dining Car Day.
Dining car.
Yeah.
Wonder when they first established that day.
Well, it's that because the Pulliam Palace Car Company introduced the first railroad dining car on that day in 1868.
Wow. So it's probably been around for almost that long.
Probably.
I mean, when was the last time you heard of anybody going to a dining car?
No, because they always bring it to you now.
Yeah. I mean, how often do we even travel by train where you have to eat?
Well, in this country, not enough.
Yeah, not nearly.
In Europe, that's how you go everywhere. And we went everywhere by train. I wish this country was a better train country. I wish this country was more of a train company.
We'd get more people off the roads, more idiots that don't need to be driving cars could just ride somewhere.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic. Then I wouldn't cuss quite as much during a typical commute.
I would still cuss as much because there are still idiots on the train. But, yeah,
But at least you can see them and you're not likely to run into them at 70 miles an hour
that's true. That's true.
or even 35 or 40.
Well, they're not going to, unless they're running through a crossing, they're not going to run out in front of you and run a stop sign or something.
Yeah.
On the 30th in 1899, the Tropical Trading Company and Transport Company merged with rival Boston Fruit Company to become the United Fruit Company. The company traded bananas with other tropical fruit grown in Central and South America. The company is now known as Chiquita Brands International.
Chiquita. The way to find the Chiquita banana is on the peel.
Okay, I don't know that one.
I forget what the jingle. They had a jingle for about Chiquita bananas.
On the 30th of 1914, Morton Salt Company registered the When It Rains, It Pours trademark.
I remember those.
I actually
They still use that.
My umbrella that I carry with me, it's in my car, is a Morton's umbrella.
Is
and
it?
It has the girl with the salt on the
Yep.
cover, the rainbow?
Yep,
And
that's
the
cool.
rainbow with the rain. In 1972, on the 30th, Royal Canadian Navy sailors are issued their very last daily rum ration.
Say it wasn't so.
Yes, they stopped giving them rum every day.
Man, that's just cold. To
Yes.
take away the man's rum.
On the 31st, it's National Clams on the Half Shell Day,
Okay.
Tater Day.
Tater Day. Mm-hmm. Not Potato Day.
Right,
Tater Day.
Yeah,
So that's a southern thing.
hey, taters.
Taters, yeah.
And it's also Oranges and Lemons Day.
Taters, oranges, and lemons.
Well, the oranges and lemons is from the nursery rhyme. The oranges and lemons say the bells of St. Clements.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that one.
Yeah, there's something says this, something says that the whole time. So I only did the first one, but there is an actual long version of it. Well, that is your food holidays and history for the week. Special thanks to James Ehler
Thanks,
at
James.
Food Reference for making us chuckle and roll our eyes a good bit. The Man Who Ate the Town podcast is part of the Less Desirables Network. Along with this podcast, you can listen to Less Desirables, Beer Dad's Fan Interference, and Apartment 5B. You can find all these podcasts and the list episodes on the network website and directory, tldpodnetwork.com. Check them out. We'd greatly appreciate you visited our sponsors, like Delicio's Italian Restaurant is the go-to Italian restaurant in town, 301 Brookstown Avenue, if you're wondering.
And do you remember what special ingredient we learned last week that he puts into all of his food?
Love.
And we learned that from someone who worked behind the scenes and got to see how he prepares food and says, yep, his love is in that.
They have a great beer and wine list too, and now they have ABC permits, and they're
Yoo-hoo!
working on their drink menu, but Maria says it's going wonderfully.
Well, you got to have a lot of fun trying to make stuff. Oh, I wonder if this tastes any good. Yeah, boy, that really tastes good.
I don't think I like that one so much, but you know what? I can't taste anything.
I didn't like that one. I love you. I love you.
I don't feel the entire left side of my face. Sorry for the squishiness, but I can't move my tongue.
We haven't had a thing to drink.
No, we actually have not.
But, this week does include National Whiskey Day.
This is true. We hope you partake responsibly.
Responsibly.
They're open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays. Check them out on Instagram, Facebook, and delicios.com.
Check them out.
Speaking of the love and their stuff, we learned that from Brittany McGee, who
Yes.
is over at the Humblebee shop located at 1003 Brookstown Avenue in the west end of downtown. You need to go to Instagram right now,
Right now.
and look
Your
right now.
country
Look
chef
up,
done come out.
yeah, it's taters.
That's taters. That's what did it.
In the Humblebee shop. Brittany isn't your average baker, and she makes everything from scratch. If you need vegan or gluten-free, she does that too. The Humblebee shop wants to challenge your perception of scratch made and leave you with an experience you couldn't possibly forget. For more information, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and the Humblebee shop.
SHOPPE.co. Or if you want an even better experience, just go.
Yep.
Just go.
Yep.
Meet Brittany. Eat her food.
That's stuff, you're going to look at and you're going like, oh, that's beautiful. I don't know if I'd want to eat it. You get there, you smell it, you're going to want to eat it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And let's
And
not...
once you've eaten it, you're going to want more.
Hell yeah.
I'm trying to remember whether she said it on the air or after when we were talking, where she had a lady that got all the way out to her car and then came right back. I'm going to need more of those.
She had eaten half the box just sitting there.
Yeah, I've had that experience.
And, of course, there's Washington Perkins Provision Company, located at 301 West 4th Street. Chippewa, eggs, milk, cheese from Homeland Creamy, Ashe County cheese,
Ashe
a
County.
deli, which they do sell also at Combs Produce.
Oh, yes, they do. Actually,
A deli to make affordable and delicious sandwiches, breakfast sandwiches in the morning, Wolfie's custard, a beer and wine wall, condiments, toiletries, and more.
Almost like a grocery store, but better than a convenience store.
That's exactly right. That's what I was going to say next.
Oh, it's almost like I read your mind.
Or my script.
Or I've heard it.
Or you've heard it. Or you've read it for me.
I may have.
Again, the location is 301 West 4th Street. You can find them on Facebook, Washington Perk. On Instagram, they are Washington Perk _DTWS.
That stands for Downtown Winston-Salem.
It does.
See, I figured that out all by myself.
Keep an eye on the blog and this podcast to find out more about the food news and happenings around town. If you have any food news,
Tell
like
us.
John or like Steven, please send us an email, tim@themanwhoatethetown.com, or the Facebook Instant Messenger, or Twitter Instant Messenger, when on Twitter we are man who number 8 the town, or on the Instagram Instant Messenger, which is how I contacted or got contacted by Combs. Yeah.
Awesome.
On the
And you heard it today. If you contact us, we will talk about it.
That's true.
It's the
And,
easy
if
way
there's
to get
something
on.
you don't want me to say, but you want me to know, please put that in there. So I'm like Ron Burgundy. I will read anything that's on the thing. Exactly how it is. I mean, you put a question mark in the wrong spot, and I'm going to say classy San Diego. So, yeah. Anyway, on Instagram, we are Man Who Ate the Town. My name is Tim.
My name's Ray.
And we're closing the recipe box. Thank you again to Ben
Thanks,
Combs
Ben.
from Combs Produce for
Awesome.
being here. Until next time, thank you for reading and thank you for listening. Bon appetit. The views and opinions stated by me or any of my guests are solely those of ours and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of our hosting companies, distributors, enemies, friends, or relatives. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced or distributed without express written consent of the man who ate the town, that's me, and Such Limited Inc. However, if you ask nicely, we'll probably let you.